Welcome to W the Women's Show, the show bringing you a perspective of the world from the women's point of view. I'm Chanel Hart. First, on today's show, we have a very important message concerning your child's health for expectant parents and for mothers of infants. Today, we have a special guest to remind us all how important it is to have our children vaccinated. The reason diseases like polio, measles, rubella, and diphtheria are rarely seen can be directly attributed to getting the right vaccinations at the right time. To get a better understanding of vaccines and immunization, W the Women's Show invited Dr. Michael Brown to come on and explain the importance of immunizations for your children. Welcome to W the Women's Show, Dr. Brown.
Thank you so much.
Well, vaccines have been so successful at defeating certain diseases that parents have become quite complacent, haven't they?
Unfortunately, you are absolutely right. In the world of medicine and in preventive health care in particular, there is nothing that has ever been invented that even comes close to rivaling what we've done with our vaccine program.
Well, how have vaccines reduced diseases specifically in the United States?
The numbers are absolutely staggering. There used to be millions of cases each year of diphtheria and measles and pertussis and so on. With the vaccines, we see about 1 to 3 cases of diphtheria each year, maybe 50 cases of measles, aside from local outbreaks from people not getting their children immunized.
My gosh. And what are some of the diseases that are still common today that can be prevented by vaccines?
Unfortunately, pertussis is actually on the rise. We see millions of cases of pertussis each year, mainly in adolescents and adults who then spread it to the young children where they're vulnerable. Meningitis, particularly with Neisseria meningitis, a vaccine-preventable disease that is very deadly. And please don't forget the flu. 36,000 to 40,000 people in the United States die from the flu every year.
Well, what kind of options do parents have who are deciding what types of vaccines to give their children?
The most important thing is really talking to your pediatrician or your family physician.
Well, we visited Dr. Tina Tan in her office in Chicago just to kind of understand the immunization process a little better. Let's take a look.
Well, vaccines are actually one of the most important public health achievements of the 20th century. And they are extraordinarily important for children in order to protect them against vaccine-preventable diseases. Vaccines have really decreased significantly the amount of both morbidity and mortality, in other words, complications and deaths from vaccine-preventable diseases in children, and is one of the most important things that parents can do for their children.
All of them got shots when they were younger. And I had no problems, no chicken pox. Even when they came in contact with kids at the daycare that had chicken pox, they didn't catch it.
I think it's important because you never know what, she could be exposed to. Or, I mean, even, at this young age especially, you don't know where you're going and who has what or who hasn't been vaccinated for whatever. I mean, a lot of parents actually don't vaccinate their children.
The best example are things such as polio, which in the 1950s caused a lot of paralysis. Today, we don't see polio in this country because of the success of vaccines. Other diseases that we vaccinate against are things such as Haemophilus influenza type B, which cause meningitis and other serious infections in children. And today, very, very little of that is present because of the success of vaccines. And even diseases such as rotavirus, which causes severe diarrhea in very young children. Today, we have a vaccine against that particular organism, and it really has decreased the amount of hospitalization and deaths caused by that particular organism. Many of the questions have to do with overloading the immune system and giving them too many things for their body to handle. And vaccines actually stimulate the body's immune system to protect against various diseases. And the amount of antigens that we're giving to a child with a vaccine is much, much less than what the child encounters in the environment every single day. The reason that you don't see these diseases in the community any longer, or you don't see as much of the disease in the community any longer, is because they're being controlled by vaccines. However, one disease that we are seeing in the community, which there's actually been an increase in, is a disease called pertussis, or whooping cough.
Well, of course it gives me peace of mind. I want them to be healthy as possible, and if at any time these shots can protect them, it's worth it to me.
Just knowing that you can prevent these children from suffering from diseases that in the past we were unable to protect against is probably one of the most gratifying feelings in this job.
Well, Dr. Brown, what tips can you give to parents that'll help kind of decrease the stress level during the immunization process?
Probably the number one thing is the more you can be educated on what these diseases are, that they still exist, and that what you are doing for your child is the most important thing to protect them, will make you feel much more at ease about the process.
Well, there's so much information here. Where can parents go to learn more information about vaccines?
Number one, I would recommend their personal pediatrician or family physician.
Okay.
But there is some great websites. Please be careful, though. On the web, there's some very bad information out there.
Okay.
The CDC has a phenomenal website about their immunizations. The Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, another great website I use a lot, and immunize.org by the Immunization Action Coalition. These websites will teach you all about the diseases that we vaccinate for, how the vaccines are made, when you get them. They're really designed for both medical people and families in general.
Well, I wanted to thank you so much, Dr. Brown, for being on the show today.
Thank you. It is my pleasure.
We're out of time. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Chanel Hart, and this is The Women's Show. See you next time. Visit these websites to learn more about the participants on this edition of W. The Women's Show.